What up? It's the Athletic Hockey Show for February 25th, 2026. Boys, my resolution coming into the second part of the season is I'm going to stop saying the incorrect date at the top of the show. I'm going to go 100% down the stretch.
Wow.
I will not get the day, date, or year wrong.
I'll deny that
consistently.
I will call you out on that. There's no and by the way, I'm not going to catch you because I never pay attention to what date you say.
Wait, you don't pay attention when I'm talking about anything. Like whatever, it's fine. Why should you? Why should you? And why would you? NHL hockey's back tonight, fellas. I think we got 10 games. Is that right? We're gonna get into that. We're gonna try to reopen the book on the season after, geez Louise, however long it's been, 20 days or so without games. Oh, brother. And we're gonna look back at the Olympics. Frankie, we haven't talked since the gold medal game. Obviously, we're gonna get into that. But before we do that, we need to recap the U.S. men's trip to Washington D.C. for the State of the Union last night. 20 of the 25 players ended up going. 17 seemed to be in attendance for Donald Trump's State of the Union last night. This is after an Oval Office session with them beforehand. Trump made the introduction about 12 minutes into the speech after declaring that the State of the Union was strong, of course, and then went into freelance mode, introduced the team. I'm not gonna read all of it, but he went into a whole thing about how the country's winning again. We're winning so much, don't know what to do about it. It's classic Trump stuff. Introduced them saying, "You're gonna win again. You're gonna win big. You're gonna win bigger than ever." And to prove that point, here with us tonight is a group of winners who just made the entire nation proud. The men's gold medal Olympic hockey team, and then they descended from the stairs in the back of the U.S. Capitol and in the House chambers and stood in the aisles and clapped for a little bit. Everybody was complimentary. Jack Hughes, Quinn Hughes were at the front of one of the groups. They were exhorting for more applause, which, was funny to see, I suppose. And then they were gone. My thoughts on that is that's about what we expected. I think Trump said it himself during the little run up there. To prove the point, here with us tonight is a group of winners. He's trying to associate himself with winners, and he called a bunch of gold medalists out. They were happy to receive the invitation, and then off they went. Sean, Frankie, I know you guys are Canadians. If you want to share the Canadians' view on the way things went down last night, by all means.
Let me just share the married guy's view
Yes,
who
please.
travels a little bit. Okay, so if you were just gone for, whatever it was, 20 days, 19 days at the Olympics, and your poor wife was at home wherever she is, maybe doesn't have any family help there, she's got a few kids at home, and you made that call, you're like, honey, I'm so happy we won. She's like, baby, I'm so proud of you. Get home. We all can't wait to see you. Hold on a sec, hon. Actually, we're going to fly to Miami. We're going to party at one of the best nightclubs in the world for a night. So I'm going to let my hair down a little bit.
And people will be naked there.
People are going to be naked.
For the record.
And and then we're going to hop on a military bird. We're going to go to DC. We're going to hang with everyone there. We're going to do all that. So I'll be home a couple days later. And I think what the wife, who maybe has been drowning for 3 weeks, would say is, honey, no problem. When you get home, there'll be a nice flat stack of divorce papers waiting for you to sign. Just let me know when you want to come collect them. So that's the married guy with young kids point of view.
I call that the Brock Nelson point of view, yes.
Yeah. Brock Nelson had to get home to the kids and the grandkids and the great grandkids, and
he left his just for men at the house and just couldn't live without it any longer.
Yep. My perspective on it was, I think that what happened last night, by all reports, because I sure didn't watch it.
Why not?
I think we avoided any of the worst case scenarios that we were worried about. Trump didn't do the 51st state bit. He didn't say anything extraordinarily stupid by his standards, and then have the smash cut to miscellaneous NHL player clapping along or lapping,
Correct.
or anything like that. So, I think all things considered, it went about as well as it could have. The perspective I was interested in was the Canadian perspective, because putting political opinion aside, Donald Trump is an extraordinarily unpopular figure in Canada. This country has largely turned on Wayne Gretzky because of his association with Donald Trump. That is Wayne Gretzky, arguably the most popular Canadian of all time up until a few years ago. So if you think that we would never cast an angry glance at Jake Sanderson or whoever else, you're mistaken. It's a tough situation, I think, for the 5 American Team USA players who play for Canadian teams. And we saw sort of a mix. Kyle Connor just bailed on the whole thing. Got back to Winnipeg, said all the right things. I'm here to win. We're in a playoff race, et cetera, et cetera. Which is what I thought all of them should do. Every one of those players is on a team that's not in the playoffs right now. I wasn't expecting anyone to make some grand political statement. I thought the thing to do would be to say, appreciate the invites, great honor, love my Team USA teammates, but I got to get back to work. I make millions and millions of dollars to help an NHL team in Canada get to the playoffs. We're not there yet, so that's my focus starting right now. And I think people in probably both countries would eat it up with a spoon. But only one of them really played that card, and that was Kyle Connor. Auston Matthews went to the White House event and then skipped the State of the Union. He gets back to his team in time that he can play tonight. That is a big one. I think anyone who missed a game for this stuff would have been rightly dragged for it. And then you had at the other end of the spectrum, Connor Hellebuyck, not only there, but gets the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which is a very cool honor, not a political one. This isn't, they didn't make up the Donald Trump winner award and give it to him. They use something that had already been established and has been used for other athletes. So that's great. That's a cool honor for him. And then Sanderson and Brady Tkachuk, I don't think anyone was expecting he was gonna skip out on the thing. And the Senators don't play till tomorrow, so he had some extra time there. I think the whole thing was a minefield. I think this could have gone a lot worse. I know that there's certainly a lot of Leaf fans who are not happy with Auston Matthews for having any part of it. I imagine it's the same with Senators fans and maybe Jets fans as well. But certainly the conversation we're having this morning, not as bad as it could have been. And that was part of it. That was why it was, I thought, bad judgment for these guys to go. Just don't put yourself in the situation where you can look ridiculous. And I guess we managed to avoid that. So, yay, I suppose.
And the great news is NHL's hockey is back. Like, I feel like people are so sick of this because this is all everyone's been talking about, right? Like, now we finally get NHL games back. We get to sink our teeth into it. Like, I don't know. Not that I don't want to like push it to the side, but I think there's a lot of people that are happy that like we're starting up now tonight and it's go time again. And it's like, wait a second, where's my team at? Who's healthy? Who's hurt? Like all these big questions for the last 25 games or so coming up.
And I think that's why, last night went for that purpose. If you're someone who wants to just try to move past the drama of the last couple days and make it out of this minefield, I think that the last night went about as well as it could. Like those guys stood up and were praised, and whatever that means. Like they got in and got out. The 3 players who were not seen at the speech but were in DC were, of course, Matthews, Clayton Keller, Dylan Larkin. So they did get some kind of head start going back and rejoining their teams. The other element there, yeah, Sean, you mentioned this was Connor Hellebuyck getting the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which it's a very funny list, and it is like, it's politicized to some extent on both sides because you do see people who are aligned with whether it was Biden or Obama or George W. Bush or Trump now. It is. It's a very funny list. Like one of the athletes that Trump gave the Medal of Freedom to during his first term was Roger Penske. It was a NASCAR driver. He was like a business owner now. So it
Penske
is
file, man.
It is
That's a
pretty
Penske
funny.
file.
That's it. Hellebuyck is like outside of Katie Ledecky, the swimmer who got it during Biden's term. Connor Hellebuyck is like very literally the only like in his prime athlete to receive this. Like it's been guys who've gotten it after they've retired. It's been guys who've gotten it for contributions, other like larger contributions to society outside sport, like Jackie Robinson and what have you. But Tiger Woods got it. This is late period Tiger Woods. We saw Magic Johnson get it during the Biden administration. Like this typically does not go to a guy who's currently in the moment the best in the world at his athletic job. So I think that is kind of a funny twist here. Like he is outside the normal realm of Medal of Freedom recipients. I just want to know, does he wear it? Does he wear it during games? Does he get it painted onto his helmet? Like
I have a feeling now what'll happen is anytime we fire up for a Sports Center hit, and maybe we have to like be a little harsh on the Jets for some reason, it's like, there it is. Presidential Medal of Freedom, right? Like, and let's call a spade, man. Like, they don't win that game without Connor Hellebuyck playing the way that he did. Empty net or not, like MacKinnon empty net aside, sure, but part of that is MacKinnon was probably spooked by how well the guy was playing, so he had to rush that shot, because if he takes that shot a million more times, he's scoring a million. He could take that shot for 24 hours in a row and he won't miss it once, but he missed it on that one occasion. Why? Because the goalie was that good. Mm-hmm. So, it is interesting if you look at the list of athletes, even like more recently that have won it, whether it's Jordan, it's Kareem. I think if you go back a little further, Yogi Berra, like there's some crazy. It's such a like difference of names.
Trump gave it to Babe Ruth during the first administration, because Babe Ruth hadn't. It's a very very funny, like all very accomplished people, but like the order in which they've gotten it has been very funny.
Who do we think was in on that decision? Like, what does that look like where you're sitting around? Because I'm assuming it started with, we should give this award to somebody from the U.S. team. And then is it, they're looking at the list. Okay, Jack Hughes scored the goal. Quinn Hughes led the team. I'm just saying, I feel like Matthew Tkachuk is kicking over tables right now.
100%.
He didn't get this one because, man,
he's paid his dues. He's on the presidential committee for physical fitness or whatever it is.
I'm calling it right now, because I'm assuming there'll be some sort of ceremony for Connor Hellebuyck to get this the thing, and I don't know when that happens. I'm going to assume Matthew Tkachuk finds a way to get in on that photo op.
Yeah, like something tells me he'll find a way to do that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Frankie, we haven't talked really since the conclusion of the gold medal game. Let's talk about Hellebuyck, honestly, like, because I think that sort of speaks to how good Hellebuyck was in the gold medal game. Was that an old guy watching it on TV was like, yeah, this guy's pretty good in his capacity. He gave him
this
second
was
highest civilian award an American received.
Like, I don't think you could sit there and say that the Americans truly dominated that game or outplayed Canada and they put together the perfect roster. Like that, I don't think you can say that. But what you can say is that, the American team looked the way it was supposed to. And what I mean by that is there was no one player that was head and shoulders above everyone else. Like, they wanted to build a team where everyone sort of contributes and everyone slots into the right spot. And at the end of the day, they win the game. Well, they did do that because they won, and Connor Hellebuyck was at the forefront of it. And if you look at it and you're like, was Matthews great? He was good, especially early in the game. Was Jack Hughes great? Well, he scored the game winner, but it wasn't like he, was rolling things over and dominant in that game. So on and so forth. Eichel, Tkachuk's, like, go up and down the lineup. You're like, there's not even Quinn Hughes for that matter. It wasn't like it was their game or anything like that. It was the Hellebuyck game. and the players all slotted in correctly. And to be honest with you guys, I think, yeah, I'm a Canadian. I, of course, would love to see Canada win something like that. Would love to see Connor McDavid win something like that. This is good. Like, it's good that the Americans won. I'm sorry, you will not convince me otherwise, because rivalries are built on both teams having success. Rivalries are not built on we just dominate you all the time no matter what. It's not a rivalry at that point. And the Americans, quite honestly, were due to win one of these, right? Like, their program has developed so much. They lost in, 2010. They lost in 2002. They've won, not this year, but the prior two World Juniors. They've won those. They've won the men's Worlds last year. Like, this was coming. The Americans were going to win something like this, and now they did. And it's not like you have to have some big referendum on the state of hockey in Canada. You don't, because you probably win that game 9 times out of 10. But it's great for the rivalry, man. Like, we're not sitting here in Canada just talking about, it's our game and come knock us off. It's like, no, we got work to do here, because these guys can win in any kind of situation now. So I think it is a good thing that they won.
Mackin, do you agree? Do you also think this is a good thing?
I'm not going to say it's a good thing, but I will agree with Frankie's larger point that, yes, this is, at some point, it's not a rivalry when it's the same team winning over and over again. And in a sense, and now I'm talking purely from the hockey side, forget all the nonsense afterwards, this played out just about as well as it could have for the NHL. Because first of all, you got an exciting game. You got the big dramatic moment that they can play over and over again. You got the iconic image, Jack Hughes with the teeth knocked out, draped in the flag, and we'll see that a trillion times over the next few decades. And also, from a Canadian perspective, you've got people chomping at the bit for another shot at it now, because they feel like, hey, man, we had the best team, and it didn't play out. And look, I've seen people say, oh, they got goalie. Yeah, you got goalie by the best goalie in the world. And we all knew coming into this tournament and the last one, and that the goaltending edge for Team USA was going to play. And it did this time. And the goalie's part of the team. So to say, well, we got goalie, this isn't some obscure guy coming out of nowhere suddenly has 60 saves. This is the best in the world playing like the best in the world. But you certainly don't.
There's a desire, I feel like, to compare it to Elvis Merzlikins or,
No, it doesn't. If you want to compare it,
Christers Gudlevskis. I mean, I had the wrong Latvian goalie, or like Ron Tugnut making 65 saves for a crappy Penguins team.
This is Dominik
That's not
Hasek
what this is.
in 1998, if any. Yeah. And that was and Hasek. I mean, that Czech team were certainly more of underdogs going into the tournament than Team USA. But if anything, that's what it is. And not to spoil anything, but I've got a piece coming up in a couple of days where Jesse Granger and I are going to look at this and say, okay, coming out of the Olympics, let's reevaluate on Connor Hellebuyck. Where does he now fit on the all-time list, or at least on the modern list? Like, because there's sort of been that holy trinity of Waugh, Hasek, Brodeur. Is he starting to knock on that door? Now that he's got the gold to go with the Vezina and the Hart Trophy and all of this, doesn't have the cup though, and you go on down the debate. But no, I mean, anybody who says, like, to say, oh, it's it was just a goalie, that'd be like if Connor McDavid had a hat trick and Canada wins 3-2, and Americans said, you had one guy had a good game, one guy got hot for a game, one guy the best skater in the world. He's part of the team. He's the guy the whole team's built around. This is who the Americans built their team around, and the plan worked to perfection. Give him credit.
And listen, I think Binnington had himself a really good game. Like, he made a number of saves. I think of the one against Quinn Hughes in overtime. It's like, that gives Canada a chance to win. And I'm not going to dissect the goal again, because everyone's done it a million different times. But you talk about Connor Hellebuyck, and now he's got all these great accolades. The one thing, I guess, if we're going to nitpick here, it's not a small thing though. Like, can you steal a series in the playoffs at some point? Because all these guys that you're talking about, whether, let's go recently, right? If it's Bobrovsky or it's Vasilevsky, like, they've stolen series for teams. And he stole a game. Mind you, it was a massive game, but at some point you need to steal a playoff series. That's what they do. Now, it's not going to define his career because he's done so much and has accomplished so much as an individual. But that's one thing I guess I would nitpick for. And I
totally agree with that, by the way, Frank.
Right.
Like,
that's a reasonable ask because guys do it. Guys simply do it. It's not like we're asking too much. And I think the other thing that if we're talking about this bigger picture, overarching hockey conversation, Canada is not entitled to win every single event playing hockey. We're just not. And it doesn't happen. And it's the same way that, Sweden is not entitled to be a top 3 team just because they're Sweden and they're loaded with NHL stars. Like, I think Sweden would be having a conversation of saying, are countries passing us? Like, are we worse than we actually should be? Whereas Canada's having the conversation like, okay, clearly a lot of countries are catching up to us. Like, I think you look at it from different countries' point of view and you could see where their conversations are headed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And look, I'm old enough to remember in the 90s, Canada loses to Team USA in the 96 World Cup in what was the first time Team USA had ever won a best on best. First time anyone other than Canada or Russia had won one. And then they go to Nagano and they just bomb out there, don't even win a medal. And at that point, it really did feel like, man, is this a game in crisis? Are we, and we had summits and stuff like that to really talk about like what is happening. Are we losing our grip? And that contributed to the overwhelming pressure in 2002 to go and win gold. And then, of course, they finally did. And it felt like the dam broke and everything was good again. And of course, the program barely looked back from there. It doesn't feel like it's the same here. Certainly on the men's side, even on the women's, you could look at this Olympics and say, okay, same result, exact same result. Team USA beats Team Canada 2-1 in overtime. And yet, given how that tournament went and given how the last year or so has gone, you're looking at that going, man, is Team USA starting to pull away from Team Canada a little bit? And especially when you look at the youth on that roster and you look at how dominant they were, how tough they were to even score on. Boy, you're sitting there going, man, this might be the start of a new era. I don't feel like it is that in the men's side. This is, as Frankie said, just a case of a team that was right there all along, was one play, one shift, one shot away on a few other occasions. They finally got that play before Canada got it. Okay, that's hockey. And it doesn't, it doesn't create a crisis. It doesn't, it creates disappointment. And sometimes you need some disappointment to fuel the next chapter of the story.
And what happened to cause this crisis in 1998? It's lost to Dominik Hasek.
Yes.
I think there may be some lesson to learn there too about
2-1 in extra time.
About overreaction to one game losses to the best goalie on earth, because it happened then and it happened now, and it doesn't need to mean anything other than the result in the moment, right? It doesn't need to lead to anything else necessarily. I think that goes both ways. Like, if you're an American hockey fan, just enjoy this one. Don't worry about how things are set up for 2030 in the French Alps and blah blah blah. Like, it might not happen again. We know that you can go 20 years in between best on best tournament victories or 46 years between gold medals because it just happened. You never know. So enjoy it. Don't make too much of it. And
yeah,
we'll see at the World Cup, I guess.
And be happy.
And maybe what we need is,
go ahead,
is somebody else to win in 28 or 30, even Sweden or Finland or somebody. And then we're really back to the mix of, man, this is anyone's.
And let's just be happy that it didn't end in a shootout. That at least, 3-on-3 is a different sport than 5-on-5. Everyone knows what they were playing. Everyone had like plenty of lead up time to wrap their heads around it. And it's funny, if you watch the clips from that 98 shootout, like, you could just tell it's such a foreign thing for all those guys, because all they did was skate as fast as they could in on Hasek. Like, every guy, it was like the old thing where you got to generate speed on the breakaway, right? And they all did it. And meanwhile, now we see guys take 30 seconds from the time they touch the puck to the time that they shoot it almost. It's a very different thing if you go back and watch those clips.
Quickly, Frankie, what kind of 3-on-3 player was prime Frankie Corrado?
Scared. Yeah. Just like once I passed the threshold of like 25 seconds, being like, I got to find a way to get off because I don't want to be hemmed out for a minute and a half.
Then he could have just gotten double shifted and played for a minute and a half and whatever. That's how Canadians roll, apparently.
Yeah, I remember one time in Belleville, we were playing against Grand Rapids, and I saw like one of my forwards streaking, right? And I'm like, oh, I'm going to go bank job off the end boards and like try and get it to him. Icing. Coach just losing it on the bench. Troy Mann, he's like afterwards, goes, what the are you thinking out there? Bank job in 3-on-3? Get your ass off the ice.
My God. Frankie's dudes and the not dudes of the Olympics are next. We'll be right back. All right, we're back. It's McIndoe, Corrado, Gentili. We're picking the carcass of Olympic hockey because it's just that important, even though it's February 25th. Frankie, pick some of your fellas from this one.
These are the dudes, Sean.
I got dudes, and I got maybe guys that were not dudes. Like maybe a little disappointing. You had a moment that you'd want back, but it's pretty obvious who the big boys were. But maybe I'll sort through them in order and let me know what you guys think. You want to start dudes or not dudes first?
Let's go dudes.
All right. Coming in at number 5, I have packaged both Hughes brothers together at number 5, Jack and Quinn. And Quinn was unbelievable. He wasn't there at the Four Nations. Jack was clearly not himself last year at the Four Nations. He got filtered down lower in that lineup. Didn't feel like he was a factor. And both these guys had overtime winners in big moments and kind of showed that, like, wait a second, when we're on this team, it's different. And it's a big deal, and we came through in big moments. So I got the Hughes brothers at number 5. At number 4, I have my guy, Juraj Slafkovský, who Jaromir Jagr is now saying he reminds me of me. And that hopefully is not just saying the guy's got a big caboose and he sticks it out.
I was going to say, is that because of Juraj Slafkovsky's ass? Is it possible that that's why Jagr saying
that is not just an aesthetic thing. That is because this guy has found something.
It's the meaning behind the caboose.
Exactly. It's how you use it. And I think we've seen this sort of percolating now this year, where he's not just the guy that's going to retrieve the puck for the skilled players. He's carrying it. He's making the plays. He's driving a line from the wing. He's playing with a little physicality, more than a little physicality. And he was the most important player for his team going into the tournament. He was the most important player for the success that they had. A team that on paper was outmatched so many different ways. And he was awesome. So he's at number 4. At number 3, Macklin Celebrini.
Who?
Like, if you don't know, now you know how good this kid truly is. Like, if you're up one night and you can't sleep, put on a San Jose Sharks game at 10:30 p.m. Eastern time, because he'll be worth it. And I think what comes to the forefront of this is, that's a team with a lot of superstars, a lot of older superstars, and he was maybe supposed to be just like a complimentary piece. When it was all said and done, he was second in tournament in points, and it just wasn't about the points. It was about the way he got them. It was the way he was stealing pucks off guys' sticks. It was the way he was slippery, getting away from checks. Like, he was awesome. And now everyone knows.
It's been so wild. And I know we don't need to relitigate Celebrini all the way, because we've talked about him plenty, whether it's the three of us or wherever else. The last 3 months we've seen him go, 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, however long, short amount of time. We've seen him go from maybe he makes the Olympic team to, he's definitely going to be there, as if nothing else, you keep him along because he can play on a bottom 6 and he's capable of contributing there, to like, no, he's definitely in the lineup every day, to, he's actually on the first, he's with McDavid, to, he is an active participant and looks completely in place, as one of the 2 or 3 best players in any game that he played. It's incredible.
Even a month ago, it felt like
Yes.
like he was sitting in the waiting room with a few other guys, with Connor Bedard and a few other guys, waiting to someday go join the McDavid MacKinnon conversation.
Yeah, like that's
The Olympics starts, and suddenly he was knocking at the door, and now the door's wide open, and he's in the room with those guys hanging his posters up and everything because he's moved right on in.
that's kind of what I mean. Like in November, December, I worked on a Celebrini thing, and I talked to a lot of people about it, and their stance on him back then was like, man, this kid is going to be a factor at the Olympics because his game ports down to the bottom six. It's going to be great to watch him play. Like he's going to contribute there because he's that kind of player, and he's complete, and he can contribute in a bunch of different ways, and he can do exactly what that team needs him to do. Like people were excited about that. And then what we ended up getting from December to February, the leap that he made in that amount of time, whether it was just in perception or in the eyes of the coaching staff where they were, ready to give him those opportunities, is incredible. Like there was already optimism about the guy, right? Then he starts on the first line and then levels up even from there. It's just, I still can't say enough about what we saw from him over the last few weeks.
It's something, man. And you know what? In 2030, maybe we're talking about Celebrini being the best player on the team. Like that's probably not a far-fetched thing. He was already the second best player on the team right now. And I'll get to number 2. I'm just going to say that I don't have Connor McDavid because Connor McDavid is in a different stratosphere right now. I'm talking about guys that like maybe had a moment that like you weren't expecting or just, we know what Connor McDavid is. He was the MVP of the tournament. He lost again. That's a whole bigger picture thing. So just keep that in mind. At number 2, I have the Slovakian goaltender, Hlavaj, who plays for the Iowa Wild and has some of the worst numbers in the American Hockey League. And if you looked at that, you said, they're screwed. They don't have anyone in net. And this kid, for whatever reason, was such a dude over there. Like, I can't imagine. Like, I don't know if he'll ever put together a run of hockey like that ever again. I hope he does. Like, I hope, maybe scenery change, whatever. But man, Slovakia doesn't get a 4th place finish without this guy. This guy was unbelievable. Like was he even registered anywhere on your radar?
No, that he was the reason not him necessarily, but you said it. Slovakia's reason, goaltending was the reason not to believe in them. And you're like, okay, there's, they got a star in Slafkovský. They've got some, NHL players on the back end. They've got the guys. They've got the like Dvorskys and Regendas and guys like there were people in the mix, right? But you at the start of the tournament, you're like, oh, don't got a goalie, and then Hlavaj steps up. That Sean, that's like that's the guy that we're talking about.
Yes.
If the United States goes out and loses to Slovakia in the semifinals because Hlavaj makes 38 saves and it ends up being a 2-1 game, that's the guy who you're like, oh, this sucks. We got goalied. It's like maybe kind of unfair because he just had the run of his life there. But man, yeah, that's what it's about. I think guys like that stepping up is what makes tournaments like this so much fun.
And I think number 1 should be fairly obvious, but this person had a narrative surrounding him that he could never do it in the big game. Like he could never do it in the playoffs, and he still needs to steal a playoff series, but we've talked about that already. It's Connor Hellebuyck.
Mm-hmm.
Last year in the Four Nations, Jordan Binnington stared down the ice, and he said, I'm better than you when the pressure's on. And this year, Connor Hellebuyck said, I got it. I'm going to make the stick save. I'm going to make the 2 breakaway saves on McDavid and Celebrini. I'm going to make 3 or 4 saves on a 5-on-3 for 1 minute and 11 seconds. And you got me last year, you're not going to get me this year. And that is dude-esque if I can ever think of anyone that was like, watch this.
What a week. Gold medal, Presidential Medal of Freedom, and now the Frankie Corrado Medal of Dudedom.
Dudedom, yeah.
It's like every day brings a greater honor for this guy.
We should stand and applaud. Yes. Way to go, Connor. I think
Again, Matthew Tkachuk just kicking over a trash can right now.
Yeah, in their sweaters as Hellebuyck has the Dude of the Week medal hanging around his neck.
Kicking over the trash can that his brother lives in, and
Nothing gets you to the top of a list like that than a win over Jordan Binnington. You know,
well, especially with what happened last year. All right, I'll rifle through the top 5, call it like not dudes or not dude moments or disappointments, whatever you want to call it. But I do have one observation coming off the dudes list. Let's rifle through this one first. Number 5 on not dudes, Canada's decor. Could have used a little more puck moving ability back there. Like it was apparent.
Say you wanted Evan Bouchard on this team, Frank. Say it.
I will say that I never said to have Evan Bouchard on this team. But after watching some of the stuff that happened there on the right side of the ice, it couldn't have hurt them. I'm sorry. I will gladly admit that. Having Bouchard there, having Matthew Schaefer, or having Jacob Chychrun, take your pick. One of those guys or two of those guys helps that decor.
You mean you didn't enjoy watching Colton Parayko bomb shots from the point?
I think he did Cody Ceci justice. He did Cody Ceci justice for the shot in the bubble. Jim Houston, and he missed the net by a mile. All right, number 4. I don't know if this is controversial. I don't know if it's a hot take, but when you miss a wide open net and then you are hesitant on the play that becomes the game winner in a span of like 30 minutes of real time, it's not dude stuff, man. So Nathan MacKinnon's number 4. I know he had the big goal, but I don't know. It's when that happens, it's fair. It's fair to critique that.
I'm glad you said it.
Okay.
I felt like I needed backed up. That was in the moment after that game, after the gold medal game. That's in the immediate aftermath. I was like, catastrophe for MacKinnon. Not the
tournament, the game.
Yes.
More than the United States just won a gold medal. The thing that was on my mind was the way MacKinnon played. I could not believe it.
Yeah. And not only did that stuffy not make it home, I think you went into the trainer's room and you grabbed a knife or scissors and you stabbed the thing a million times. Like I think that stuffy just is it blown into it's gone. It's gone.
I saw that coming when they did it after the women's game, after the women's final. They double back and then make them take another. Like they have the tray of medals and then go back for the tray of stuffies. I was like, someone's getting caught on camera after the men's game, and if it's Canada, I think we all kind of knew who it was going to be.
All right, number 3, the Florida guys for Team Canada. I think if you looked at that and you said, man, we got the guys that are like just gritty and scrappy and big game, big moment guys that are just going to wear you down. I kind of expected more from the Florida guys. Like that's Reinhart got filtered down lower in the lineup. Sam Bennett took some ill-advised penalties. Brad Marchand was clearly not 100%, couldn't play like himself. Hurt. I thought the Florida guys were a disappointment for Canada. It doesn't take away from their legacies and what they've done in the past, but in this tournament, I didn't think it was a factor for them. It wasn't.
I think you could say something similar about Matthew Tkachuk on the U.S. side too. I don't think he was much of a factor either.
Right, 6 assists.
A lot of miles on those tires, man. They've played a lot of hockey over the last couple of years.
Number 2, officiating. I didn't like the officiating. I think there was some terrible non-calls. If you want to, don't be a factor in a game. Make the appropriate calls. Like, how do you not see that there's 6 players on the ice when Slovakia, 4 guys? You're telling me didn't see Czechia go down the ice with 6 players and score a goal, and then it's not consequential in the gold medal game because a million other things happened that led to Canada losing. But it's the most clear as day too many men on the ice penalty that's ever presented itself, and you didn't make the call. Why?
I think that's fair.
Why didn't you make the call? Because you don't have the stones to do it. Yeah. Because it was a big moment and you didn't have the stones to do it. I'm sorry.
I've never heard you come out against officiating this hard, dude.
Well, whatever.
I love it. You sound like MacKinnon did today.
And my number 1 not dude of the tournament, the Swedish head coach.
Oh, yes.
Okay. He did Sam Hallam, or however you want to say his name, did a disservice to all the European coaches that are trying to get to the NHL and become head coaches. He torpedoed it all for them because he had no idea how to handle all those players, whether it was Rasmus Dahlin or Philip Forsberg or Oliver Ekman-Larsson. He set European coaches back a decade at least with the way that he handled those players.
Mm-hmm. Rasmus Dahlin too said after when he came back to Buffalo. I'm not gonna try to quote him here, so I'm not gonna bother with that. But like, he was basically like, yeah, I was fine during that elimination game. Like, gotta ask the coach like why I didn't play that much. Like, what is this dude doing? And he's a guy too. Over the last however long, over the last 6 months or 12 months, very very talkative guy. Has a lot of media friends. Pops up frequently as a person who knows what he's doing. I think, and I saw plenty to the opposite to speak to the opposite over the last couple of weeks. I love that. I love that pick, dude.
That's a good one. I got to throw this out here, Frankie, because I love all the picks. I agree with all of them, but you got me a little excited on the dudes, and we all knew Hellebuyck had to be there. But when you were talking about the guy who had the reputation, couldn't win the big one, I was starting to lean forward. I thought we were going to get the Auston Matthews dude pick. Was he close? Was he in the running to making the list? Because he led the team in scoring among forwards, and he was a defensive demon in the gold medal game. Mm-hmm. And the Hughes brothers had told us that we're not allowed to say that Auston Matthews isn't a winner anymore. Number 6 on the dude list, top 10. Like,
honestly, like if I had an honorable mentions list, it would be like Saros. It would be Leonardo Giannoni, who the Edmonton Oilers should be on the horn with, and see if he can win a Stanley Cup for them.
He's as old as I am.
Because this guy is like a very decorated international goalie. The Matthews thing I find fascinating, right? Because if you think about captain of the team, face of the team wins a gold medal. Generally, you're like, well, that guy must have been a huge factor, right? Like, he must have been a rock star. But he kind of fits what the USA was all about, where it was like there really didn't feel like there was one player that was that much better than anyone else. And maybe that's the key for Auston Matthews. Maybe this whole thing, Sean, of like, there's 3 or 4 big guys at the top, and Matthews is going to be so overwhelmingly good. He's good, but maybe this is the kind of situation that lends itself to Auston Matthews having success, and it's not been the case in Toronto. I thought he was good. I didn't think that Auston Matthews' performance per se like defined him winning and USA winning, if that makes sense. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, he was good, but he wasn't that much better than he wasn't better than the Hughes brothers for me. He wasn't better than Hellebuyck, but he was good. It wasn't the Auston Matthews moment. It wasn't the Auston Matthews performance that won it for them.
That's it, right? I mean, you can't nitpick him. He did everything that they would ask him to do on both sides of the puck. He especially in that gold medal game where he had a point on the first goal and it was probably the best defensive player maybe in the game. Certainly had some big plays, but was there an Auston Matthews moment? Was there an Auston Matthews shift, an Auston Matthews game in this tournament? No. And, if you're looking for somebody who isn't a goaltender to just put a team on his back and say, I'm going to be head and shoulders better than everyone, you're looking in the wrong place when it's Team USA or Team Canada or something like that, because there's just so much talent. And maybe that just means that you can't draw conclusions. But yeah, we're not going to look back on this team and go, this was the Auston Matthews team that won gold. Should we have expected that? Is that way too high a place to put the bar? I don't know. It's, to take it back to the discussion we had in the first segment, I really feel like among Leaf fans, you looked at the way that tournament played out and it was like, all right, there's a little bit of redemption there. Everybody's been hammering this guy. Hasn't been having a great season, certainly in the playoffs. And here he is, big spotlight. And he had a very good tournament. And I think there were a lot of good feelings about Auston Matthews in the Toronto fan base, some of which were probably squandered by some of the decisions that happened in the aftermath of that game. But he was
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
he was very good. He almost disappointed everybody because if you're in the narrative business, you didn't get the big moment where you could say, that's it, the script has been flipped. But also, if you're the sort of person who sits back and wants to blame Auston Matthews for everything that goes right or wrong, you didn't get anything close to that either.
Yeah,
So,
it was right in the middle. It was right in
Yeah.
the middle. And I will say this, man, seeing Auston Matthews smile after winning the gold medal, I'm like, that's a dude who's lost a lot, man.
I
Like,
didn't know he could do that.
I've never seen that
draft day.
smile on him. Seriously. Like, not since he
Yeah.
was an 18-year-old kid, maybe. And he didn't even smile that much scoring 4 goals in his NHL debut. Like, this is there would have been a lot of like mental and emotional pain this guy has gone through. He definitely cares. And the fact that he won, good for him. Like, I'm happy for him. And now 2 years in a row, not to make it all about Toronto, but Mitch Marner
We
won
already have,
last
so
year.
it's fine.
Mitch Marner won last year. Auston Matthews won this year. They can do it. They can win. Just for some reason, it never happened together.
You know what we got to do? We need to get Austin to just brush up on his 3-on-3 skills. He needs to spend the next 4 years developing those, and maybe then he can score a goal in an elimination game, and we can put him at the top of lists like this. I think that's the key.
Yeah.
Frank, you're back to work this week, man. Where are you
Man,
going?
it feels weird. Like I'm prepping my notes for a game.
Crazy.
I'm like, what the heck?
Crazy.
You know? So yeah, I'm back in actually pretty good showdown tomorrow night. Habs, Islanders, Demidov, Schaefer, Hudson, rookie of the year last year. Schaefer potentially could be 2, back-to-back years having defenseman rookie of the year. I think it's going to be pretty cool to see all 3 of those guys on the ice at the same time.
And
Very
is this
fun.
the first Islanders Habs games since the No Dobson trade as well? Or is this?
I believe this is the first time. I believe it is the first time both these two teams are playing. And I don't know, for some reason, Habs and Islanders fans love to go at it
I've seen
about
that too.
trade.
Yeah. It'll be fun, man. Glad we got an NHL game to talk about. Like I said, who needs Olympic hockey when we can do Habs Canadians on a Thursday night with Frankie? That's what it's all about.
All right, boys.
See you down the
Good
road,
one.
brother. All right, there goes Frankie. Sean McIntyre, you're always at the top of my dude list.
That's sweet. Do I have to say it back now, or is it awkward?
No, I
Okay.
love you. Say it back. What have we learned? It's been so long.
What have we learned, Sean?
It has been a long time. You know what was a long time? Do you remember the trade freeze right before the Olympics started? And we had the Artemi Panarin blockbuster, and there were a couple other moves. And then I remember at the time going, what's going to be fun is when that freeze lifts in a couple of weeks. It's going to be like another trade. We're going to get all this action. All these GMs have 2 or 3 weeks to do their incredibly difficult jobs and to really evaluate and to talk. I mean, they've got no games to watch. They got nothing to do other than hang out in the group chat and pull off some deals. And then midnight, Sunday night comes and goes, and nothing happens immediately. I guess these guys were all just watching the games. I guess they were. Oh no, wait!
You're dooming us here, by the way.
Yeah. That's what they were doing.
We need like a couple hours of bumper time before the record drops.
All I'm saying is they were kicking tires. They were listening but not shopping, I think is what. They were doing all this stuff that you do that these guys in their incredibly difficult jobs. I don't think people understand how complicated it is. I mean, yeah, in the NBA, you can pull off, the superstar looks grumpy in practice, so you pull off a 4-way trade with that is done by lunchtime.
Right. Trades are hard, man.
But it's hard to do this. And so they did next to nothing. Although, in fairness, we did eventually get a pretty decent size deal out of it. So 1 for, I guess 2 for 32. Good job, NHL
Yes.
GMs.
And as it relates to the trade you just alluded to, Sean, this is actually a bit of information I did pick up. I learned something tangible here. It's from the great Bob Grove, who's a Penguins historian who's been part of the Pittsburgh media ecosystem for forever. No one knows more about the Pittsburgh Penguins. Grover's like one of my favorite social media follows just because he drops tidbits like this on the regular. And I saw this yesterday and it blew my mind. This is after Kyle Dubas and the Pittsburgh Penguins acquired Sam Girard in a second-round pick from Colorado for Brett Kulak, which is a trade I'm sure Sean and I will discuss shortly. But the way I want to frame this to you, Sean, I'll just read Bob's tweet here. Kyle Dubas on Sunday hits 2 years, 9 months since being hired. The most trades made by a Penguins GM in his first 2 years and 9 months on the job. And then there's a list. It's a list of six different Penguins GMs who've been in that chair for at least that long. How many trades do you think Kyle Dubas has made in the last 2 years and 9 months?
Oh boy. I mean, he's a reasonably active guy. I will say 10 trades.
You were low.
Okay. What's the answer?
41
Wow.
across the board. If you include all trades of picks and minor leaguers and whatever.
Wow.
41 trades in less than 3 years on the job. How many in that amount of time span did Jim Rutherford make? Trader Jim. Nobody moves players around like GM JR.
Well,
how many trades did he make in his first years and 9 months?
I'm assuming it would be higher. The way you're framing it, I feel like I'm getting set up here, but I'll go 50 for good old Trader Jim.
20.
Wow.
Kyle Dubas has made double the amount of trades as Jim Rutherford in the same amount of time after initially taking over the Pittsburgh job. That is mind-boggling. Like, we had a Jim when I was covering the Penguins, Yoey and I just had a Jim Rutherford trade tracker that we would update periodically just to keep track of everything. It was like an historical thing going all the way back. And the premise was just like, look at all this, look at all the big deals, medium deals, small ones, like Trader Jim, always at it. Kyle Dubas has doubled him. And he's also, by the way, at the helm of a team that is in playoff position, like fairly comfortably. We'll see what happens there with Sidney Crosby's injury.
Yeah, I was going to say, did anything happen in the Olympics that would change that? Do we know what Crosby's injury is? Like, have they?
Yes. Just found it out, actually.
What did we?
Okay. Producer Jeff dropping.
Oh, look at this!
Dropping news bombs in the doc.
Okay.
Sidney Crosby will miss a minimum of 4 weeks with the lower body injury, so that sounds about right.
Okay.
That looked like a 4 to 6 week injury when you saw it play out. That looked like we're not going to pretend to be doctors here, but it looked like a sprain of some sort.
I'll pretend to be a doctor. Do you think, especially now that we know that it was a serious injury, he's going to miss significant time, do you think he was ever really a candidate to play, or do you think that whole thing was a decoy, that he was never going to play? Or do you think he's such a psycho that he was legitimately going to go out there and try to Lindsey Vonn the gold medal game?
I kind of think he was going to try to Lindsey Vonn the gold medal game if he could have. And whatever. He's the kind of person, this has been said plenty of times, where like, A, he's a psycho who's going to try to play, but B, he's a reasonable enough human being where if he's not going to lie. Like I'm sure he understood the stakes and realized that if he was at 35%, that it was a better move to have Sam Bennett in there or whoever. But I don't doubt the sincerity of the attempt. At least you say, all right, this is going to knock me out for a month. Can I play 11 minutes on it in a gold medal game? And I do believe that he tried, but I'm also not remotely surprised at the outcome here. I think it's certainly closer to best case than worst for Pittsburgh, though, honestly, based on the way that injury looked initially. Like you saw that off the bat. You're like, this is 4 to 6 months, 6 to 8 months. And, they have, I guess the upshot here, and this goes back to the job that Dubas has done, I think they have, this sounds crazy, but they have the cushion based on their performance in the first chunk of the season to make this stand up. Like, they have given themselves enough rope to at least potentially, theoretically, possibly be able to deal without Sid for the next month. Whether that happens is certainly up for debate, and I think there is a very real possibility that these guys come out and lose 11 of 14 and then, whatever. But it's a testament to the job I think that Dubas has done so far. And we haven't even talked about the trade yet.
What'd you think?
I thought it was crazy. Like, I think I would have traded Sam Girard for Brett Kulak straight up. I think they're similarly effective players, even though different player types. I think it makes more sense for the Avs than maybe we initially thought, because they clearly were trying to clear up space, about $2.5 million off the cap, so they can go out and do something else. But just for it to be Girard plus a second is kind of crazy. That doesn't mean it's a bad trade for Colorado. And Myrtle said as much in his trade grade, which I totally agree with. Like, I get why Colorado did it. I think Kulak fits what they're trying to do, and he takes stuff off the cap. It makes it possible for them to add elsewhere. But if you're Pittsburgh, this is an A+++. And it's similar to a lot of other things, honestly, that Dubas has done on the job. He's adding picks and amassing assets, and hasn't had to completely gut the team to do it. It's impressive work.
What a GM! I wish my team had a guy.
I know. That's what I was gonna say. Do you ever wake up and think, if only the Leafs had a guy who were so bold and so economical? Maybe someday.
I feel like Brad Kulak has thought about making a trade 41 times.
Are we sure about that?
2 months or whatever, and that's close. It's a hard job.
Where did trades are hard come from? Was he?
That's GMs in general. That is the GM, and we
might be the poster boy for trades are hard, though.
We just bought it. Yeah. We would have traded this third liner for a 4th round pick, but we only started thinking about it in November, and that's just not like Sean. I don't know if you realize this, but there's this thing in the NHL called the salary cap.
What?
Just it's so tough. These guys.
What game are you going to watch tonight?
I'm going to watch the Leafs and the Lightning.
Oh yeah, right. I forgot
the whole time. And I'm going to watch Brandon Hagel probably score 4 goals. And I'm going to scream at my TV about where was that a few days ago.
Maybe they should have put Brandon Hagel out there for 3-on-3.
Couldn't have gone any worse.
I guess I'll watch the Kings pairing if I'm up that late, since obviously, as we both know, no East Coast sports writers ever stay up to watch Western Conference hockey games.
No.
It simply does not happen.
No.
Kings Golden Knights.
Would watch it in the morning.
TiVo.
That was an old. As soon as I said it,
Christ.
As soon as I said it, I said that's way too old a reference. But my good buddy SG won't call me on it, so it's okay. Just
I think we're pretty. I think we're pretty diplomatic over that stuff.
Dude, at my age, you're lucky I didn't tell you to pop a tape in the VCR.
40. I'm
figure
40
out
now.
how to. Nobody ever figured that out, by the way. No.
I'm 40 now, man. I'm catching up to you. It's fine. Yeah, I'll do Panarin. It's Kings versus Golden Knights. Panarin's making his debut at LA. That's an interesting one. They're going to need more from him than they thought, because Kevin Fiala is out for God knows how long. Thank you, Olympics. McAdoo, what else is up for you this week?
I teased it already, but Jesse and I are going to try to figure out, where does Connor Hellebuyck rank in the modern era right now? Is he knocking on the door of the Holy Trinity? Is he, nudging Ken Dryden aside? Is he already past the Grant Fears and Eddie Belfours of the world? We're gonna go back and forth. I don't know if it's going to be a debate. We'll find out. I think I'm sure Jesse will rank him highly, because Jesse loves all his goaltending.
Oh man,
so much, and I'm gonna force him to rank them a little bit, which is like forcing a parent to rank their kids, in the sense that they don't want to do it, but secretly they do have a ranking ready to go. You just got to get it out.
I got to do the immediate post game with Jesse after the gold medal game. It was like watching someone talk about their child.
Just glowing. So much pride.
Child, grandchild, beloved niece or nephew, perhaps, whoever you love the most, I think, is what Jesse looked like talking about Connor Hellebuyck. So yeah, that'll be interesting. It's another honor for Connor Hellebuyck to add to the list
How
this
do you
week.
factor a Presidential Medal of Freedom and being the number one dude?
I know. I was talking primarily about number one dude, and then who knows where he lands on a list made by Sean McIndoe and Jesse Granger. No, there truly is no higher honor for an American civilian than either of those things. All right, buddy. Thank you. We'll talk next week. Frank, you'll be back. Thank God. We thank him. We thank producer Jeff. I'm back Thursday with SG1, Shayna Goldman, Mike Russo, and who knows who else. Enjoy the return of NHL hockey tonight, folks. 8 games. We're back. We'll be back next week. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe and ring the bell to stay informed and catch new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And in the meantime, you can join our Discord community. We'll see you there.